It's the next level.
Hmm? Ah!
When I turned that key, my life flashed before my eyes. And then I was back in the jungle, still on this bloody island. But those flashes, Charlie, those flashes, they didn't stop.
So, you tell me you saw a flash of Claire drowning this morning. That's how you knew how to save her.
I wasn't saving Claire, Charlie. I was saving you. This morning, you dove in after Claire. You tried to save her, but you drowned.
What are you talking about? I didn't drown.
When I saw the lightning hit the roof, you were electrocuted. And when you heard Claire was in the water, you drowned trying to save her. I dove in myself so you never went in. I've tried, brother. I've tried twice to save you, but the universe has a way of course correcting, and I can't stop it forever. I'm sorry. I'm sorry because no matter what I try to do, you're gonna die, Charlie.
Welcome, everyone, into another episode of We Have to Go Back, Lost Revisited. I am one of your two wonderful co-hosts, Ben.
And I'm your other... Ben.
Stop suddenly,
Blank.
Ben.
I thought you were going to say your last name.
Well, Ben Beck. I was about to, and then I stopped and realized, wait, we don't do that on this podcast.
No, we do not. No, we're just Kristen and Ben.
That's it.
The best of friends, Kristen and Ben. Yeah. Hey, I'm Kristen. Welcome to our podcast. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're just like Kristen and Ben. Hey, oh God, we're already off to a ridiculous start.
We've been on the phone for an hour already. So he started recording and didn't tell me. So this is just one of those mornings.
I'm recollecting back to a review that was left on the podcast, like early on, like back when we were still doing season 1, where somebody said, "You're talking about Lost, buck up and have fun with it." Are we having enough fun for you now?
We're always having enough fun.
We always have a blast doing this.
I don't read reviews. Isn't that weird?
I don't either. I haven't read them in a while.
Well, so not to get off topic, but since we already are, but after doing my last podcast with Game of Thrones, the reviews that came in were just so mean and horrible. And all these awful people came out that I made a deal with myself that I was just going to always have fun and I was going to do what I wanted. And I wasn't going to care about the reviews or the haters because, then the fun is taken away from it, so.
Well, I want to preface that too by saying you had a ton of great reviews too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't want people to get the impression by what you just said it was mostly negative. That's not the case. It was mostly positive, but those negative reviews, as with anything, always just stand out more.
Well, because they're almost hateful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. I don't really read reviews too much anymore. I'll go on to see if we have reviews, but I don't really read them.
But please review the podcast. It helps
yes,
us
absolutely.
It helps us get attention about it.
I agree with that completely.
Anyways,
I mean, if you want to leave a review, I mean, we definitely appreciate it because, like Kristen said, it definitely does help the podcast get more attention on like Apple iTunes and Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, things like that. And be completely honest. Just knowing that other people are going to read them, and we most likely won't. So. No, that's not true. If you leave us a review, we do go and read them every once in a while. We just don't read them very often.
Oh yeah, I don't at all. But I also stay away from anything that could potentially hurt my heart.
It's either way, whether your review is extremely positive or extremely negative, it's not going to change the way we do the podcast.
Nope.
I mean, that's a fair assessment of it. We love doing what we do with this podcast. We love the way we do it, and that's the way we're just going to keep on doing it. So if you like it and you love it, we hope you continue to love it. If you don't, apologies.
I swear, I thought you were going to say, if you like it and you love it and you want more of it.
No.
Anyways, back to our introduction.
Yes. What were we talking about?
This week, we dive further on down into season 3 with episode 8, Flashes Before Your Eyes.
Yeah, I was honest with you about this before when we started talking, before we started recording, and I'll tell the listeners this right now. I love this episode. I don't have many notes. I really don't. And I watched the episode twice. I have a couple little Easter egg things that I noticed that I made notes of, but as far as the story itself goes, I'm going to be relying pretty heavily on you because this is something that, to me, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, there's definitely some weird stuff going on.
Well, and you know what? It's so funny that you say that because I didn't feel that way. I love this episode. I love any episode with Desmond. I think that he's just one of those characters that he is on the screen and you can't help but just be completely attentive to whatever is happening with Desmond. I mean, I feel that way about this actor though. Anything that he's ever in, whenever he shows up on the screen, I'm like, what are you going to do? I'm in, I'm here for it. Let's just see what happens, you know?
Yeah.
But I think this is his best. Yeah. This is his best role by far.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, whenever I see him, this is the role I relate him to. I always, if I see him, if I saw him at a convention or I saw him like in a restaurant or walking the street or wherever, I would automatically refer to him as Desmond before I'd even call him Ian. I wouldn't call him Desmond if I met him. I would call him Ian. But if I was with somebody and I pointed him out, I would be like, hey, look, it's Desmond. Because that's what I think of him
Charlie.
As. Yeah, I still think you sound like Grandpa Joe talking to Charlie Bucket.
It's fine. Yeah,
Give me your golden ticket or you're going to die, Charlie.
Shut up. But I do love this episode, and I think that this episode is actually filled with Easter eggs because it's like this weird dreamscape episode of kind of Desmond's past mixed in with both of his pasts, I guess, right? Because it's the last 3 years of him in the hatch that keep entering into his past with Penny, and this, realization, or this ongoing realization that he can perhaps change the course of events that have already happened. It's such an interesting episode, I think. I had a lot of fun watching it, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Oh, I did too. I mean, when we talk about the Easter eggs and such, like some of them are blatantly obvious. Like, they put them in there purposely because they want the audience to see them. And they want the audience to know. Like, for example, I have a parcel for 815. And then we see Desmond kind of flash forward to see the numbers because he hears 815 and he sees that. So there are
actually,
Easter eggs,
he hears 4815.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. But again, like those are very obvious Easter eggs that were meant for the audience to pick them up.
Right.
There are still a couple in there.
Oh, there's a whole bunch
that people probably missed. Do
you want to start off with that?
We can get to some of them.
Let's go for it.
we could talk a couple of them. Yeah, you mentioned 4815, which are 4815, three of the numbers that we got.
Plus 815 was the oceanic flight, so that was kind of like a double. Flight.
When Desmond is getting dressed for his interview with Mr. Whitmore, the time on the clock is 1:08.
Yes, sir.
Which is 108 minutes. When Desmond is in Mr. Whitmore's office, the photo on the wall is of a polar bear.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another one that is pretty obvious, but maybe not drawn attention to it. And I think there's even a scene where you can see the poster better, and Namaste is
and
on
an upside down Buddha.
Yes. So obviously hints towards some of the things that are happening on that island.
Well, and it's also the hint that Charles Widmore has a tie to the island. We learn later that he used to be he's an ex-leader of the others. So this is kind of that hint towards that. By the way, this is a spoiler-filled podcast.
Yes, thank you for that. We tend to forget to mention that now.
That's fine.
There is one Easter egg, and it doesn't pertain to the show. It's something that I have a feeling the writers threw in for the sake of throwing it in, and I don't know if you ever picked it up because again,
is it the painting?
No, it's the Namaste painting or a different painting.
There's a different painting. There's a painting that is used in Claire's boyfriend's house in a past episode that is also used in this episode. But the producers said that it's just that the artist is one of the producers of the show, and he just likes putting in his own artwork as set dressing, and it had no correlation with each other. But I missed that's just an extra piece of trivia.
No, the one that I saw, that I picked up on, and I don't know if anybody else picked up on this. Again, it's got nothing to do with the show. I think it was just something fun that the writers threw in there. When Desmond is in the apartment and he's preparing for the interview, there is a song that is playing in the background.
Building a Mystery?
Building a Mystery by Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's in my notes.
Oh, okay. So you did. Wow. So you did pick up on that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, it's Sarah McLachlan. Of course I did.
Okay. But yeah, I thought when I realized that was the song that was playing in the background, I was like, okay, that's fun. Because that's exactly what they're doing. Like this whole aspect of everything is a big mystery.
Yeah, that was definitely. Well, it was then during that when I heard that song Building, because ever since we started doing this rewatch, now it's like I feel like I'm hyper aware of everything that's happening on the show. And so that's how I also noticed the Wonder Wall with Charlie when he was you're going to be the one that saves me. When he was singing.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
And then, of course, the make your own kind of music that just was on throughout the entire episode, especially when
we
he
hear
was in
it
the
2
pub.
or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. Also, there were advertisements on the soccer game in the background.
Yes, there were.
There was Apollo Candy, Hanso Foundation, Oceanic Airlines, Mr. Cluck's Chicken Shack,
and Buddy's Diapers.
Yep, Buddy's Diapers, Gannon Car Rentals, Chronos, which is a direct recollection to Time, Expose. What else? There was something else.
It was full of like lost like corporations, like businesses
right.
from the show.
Right. But Mr. Cluck's Chicken Shack, come on. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Apollo Bar obviously is a big one too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Chronos and the Buddy's Diapers were just like there was so many on there that it's just this this is just full of Easter eggs.
Right.
It
was very cool. I loved it because it was full of Easter eggs that could only have really come kind of from Desmond's time on the island, alluding to the people that were on the island with him,
Yeah.
So I thought that was great, because in no other reality is Mr. Cluck's Chicken going to be an advertisement of an English or Scottish or UK based football game.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and I'm telling you, I'm usually the one that kind of gets you a little bit in something that I noticed, and you just got me in the whole Wonderwall thing. I don't know why I never picked up on that. In the fact that was why he was singing those lyrics was because of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was like the whole basis of kind of Desmond's friendship with Charlie, right? I mean,
oh yeah.
You learn at the end, I wasn't saving Claire both of these times. I was saving you, you jagoff.
That's one way to put it. But I mean, yeah, like one of the things that we didn't really mention about this episode too is this is, for the most part, almost this entire episode is a flashback.
25 minutes.
And it's one continuous flashback. It doesn't go back and forth like most flashbacks do.
Yeah, but is it a flashback?
Well, see, that's the question. That's the mystery, because if it is a flashback, it's an interactive flashback for Desmond.
Or is it like a flash sideways? Because he was trying to change the past. It was like, it was this weird flashback that wasn't really a flashback, that was mostly like a dream sequence.
Well, because we do know that. See, here's the thing, because, I mean, again, being spoiler full, we do know that time travel definitely becomes a key part of this series. Not only do certain members of the cast and the survivors go back like 30, 40 years and end up having to live there for a while. Spoiler, sorry. But I mean, there's characters like, oh God, not Miles.
Daniel Faraday.
Daniel Faraday, yeah.
Yeah, whose mother appears on the show for the first time.
We don't know that yet, yeah.
Right, but it is Eloise Hawking.
But Faraday goes through something very similar
actually,
later.
Sorry to interrupt you. Both of Daniel Faraday's parents are on this episode.
Yes, they are, because Daniel Faraday's father is Charles Whitmore.
Which means his sister is also on this episode.
Is she? Oh, well,
Penny.
Yeah. That's another thing about this episode too. This is a good amount of Penny. Like we haven't gotten an inch. We've met Penny already a number of times at this point, but this is the first time we're really getting to meet Penny.
Yeah, and I think that this was a really good introduction into Penny and kind of who she was. How, we get that she's from money. We get that her father is very powerful. It's very it's a lot like Son, right? Except that Jin and Son got married, whereas Penny and Desmond did not. And Charles Widmore refused to let Desmond marry Penny and tried to give him a job as in the administrative, offices or something like that. So there were a lot of parallels, I think, to Jin and Son and Penny and Desmond, in the fact that it had to do with a powerful father, a prospective husband from modest background, and a daughter who comes from a very wealthy background, but is a romantic.
Yeah.
And believes in love.
And I think that's the biggest takeaway from that for me too, is, whereas Jin and Son they're definitely romance between the two of them. But when it comes to Penny, a character, as you mentioned, who came from money and a well upbringing, she's got her priorities in order and knows what's more important. And like you said, that's
a cultural difference too. I mean, in Asian culture, it is my understanding from, I used to be a history major, so it is my understanding that in Asian culture, you're very, not submissive is the wrong word, but you have a very healthy respect for your elders, for your parents, for your grandparents. That level of respect is paramount in that culture. And I don't think that it translates to Western culture as much. There's not that healthy respect. And it's, Penny has she calls her father daft. in this episode.
Yeah, there's definitely that cultural aspect because, as you were talking about with Japanese culture, it's
well, they're Korean.
Well, Korean, sorry. We'll say Asian culture because that kind of is all encompassing. But you're right. There's definitely different cultural aspects to that. So I can see where the difference plays in between the two.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the fact that the Lost showrunners actually respect those cultural differences, and they show these two similar dynamics in different lights. And I don't know if that was on purpose, but I do feel that they gave each of the cultures realistic perspective.
I'm pretty sure they probably did the research on that to make sure they were going to do everything properly. Because they were gonna get notes if they didn't.
Well, probably not back then. It would definitely happen here. There'd be a Twitter storm within minutes of the episode.
Yeah, people would go crazy on social media. So, I don't know if you noticed the pin that Eloise Hawking was wearing.
Yes, the snake eating the tail.
The Ouroboros, yeah. Which is basically, it's a symbol for like witchcraft and such.
Alchemy,
yeah. So it's, there's definitely a lot of things in here. But I mean, with the exception of the Easter eggs that we mentioned, at least in my opinion, when it comes to Desmond's flashback, again, everything was pretty clear. It was pretty out in the open. Desmond's trying his best to change the past because he feels like he has an opportunity to do it. But as you mentioned, does he really? Like, what is this considered? Is this considered a flashback? Is this considered, did Desmond really travel through time? Is this all in his head? It's a matter. I feel like it's elements of all of it. I feel like he definitely did. Because again, we know that there's time travel elements, and I think this is the first instance of it. So, but then again, like, how then did Eloise know who Desmond was, unless it was partially in his head? So I don't know. I really don't. I'm curious what your opinion on it is.
Well, so yeah, a lot of what happened in the flashback or while Desmond was unconscious, whatever it was, it has a lot to do with, well, first of all, it has a lot to do with Charlie. There is a definite direct connection between Desmond and Charlie. I'm curious to know, I would be curious to know if Desmond and Charlie actually did have that close of, not a run-in. I mean, clearly they didn't have that conversation in the past originally, but I'm wondering if when he did leave that Charlie was playing outside of that building at that time.
If Charlie was actually there, yeah.
Yes. Or if it was just kind of like a manifestation of the dream sequence that he was having. We learn later in the episode that Desmond has been actively trying to course correct, or not course correct, but change Charlie's fate. And that could be because Desmond was trying to change his own fate before he had to wake up from the dream sequence that he was having, or the flashback he was having, or the time travel that he experienced. When he realized that he could change his past, he was hit with the cricket bat, and he was sent essentially sent back to the island. So was this supposed to be a message for him to try to keep Charlie alive until Charlie could give that message to Desmond in a few episodes of not Penny's boat?
Well, see, I mean, you mentioned Desmond being hit with the cricket bat, and I kind of took that a little differently. Like, we get that whole scene with the man with the red shoes, and that Eloise points out, and then he gets crushed by the building, and Eloise tells Desmond, he says, you knew that was going to happen. And she nods yes. And he says, she says to him, like, if he wasn't crushed by that building, then tomorrow he would have been hit by a bus. Or if he wasn't hit by the bus, something else would have happened. The universe has a way of correcting itself. And I feel like that was kind of the universe course correcting for Desmond. Like, Desmond figured out by being in the pub that second time, that he had the wrong day. He really can change his future. And but before he gets a chance to do it, the universe course corrects by whacking him with the bat and making him wake up on the island so that he doesn't have a chance to do it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's kind of how I took that whole thing, is that, again, in a way, that was the universe course correcting in that, okay, this guy figured out a way he can change the future. We have to put a stop to that. So the universe makes a move, and boom, Desmond wakes up on the island. As far as Desmond and Charlie's connection, I absolutely agree with you. There's definitely a connection between the two of them, but I kind of feel like that's of Desmond's making, because it's his choice. It was his choice to save Charlie. He could have let Charlie die if he saw that was what was going to happen. You know what I mean?
But that's not his personality. That's not what Desmond does. Desmond tries. Desmond is somebody that's going to try and keep people from peril.
Oh yeah, I agree with that completely. But I'm not saying that's not the case at all. I definitely feel like Desmond is the stand-up enough guy to do that. But that was how I was feeling before. But now that you said, maybe it was Desmond's destiny to keep Charlie alive long enough to give him the not Penny's boat message, which, God, my heart sinks a little bit just saying those words. Again, that's coming. That's coming sooner than we think it is too. Because when Desmond saved Charlie's life the first time with the lightning rod, he had technically already gone through all of this stuff with the flashback, because it was after he turned the key. That was when everything happened. So when he saved Charlie from the lightning strike, he already knew the knowledge that Eloise gave him about the universe will find a way to course correct.
Right.
So
maybe he was just trying to prove her wrong, that maybe she was just like this crazy old woman.
Maybe.
That deterred him away from proposing to Penny when he had the chance, because she got inside his head.
Yeah, that's a strong possibility.
I mean, I don't know, right? I mean that's kind of the fun of talking these episodes out, is that we can just throw out whatever, wild theories we want.
Yeah.
And they're all right.
Yeah, depending on how you look at it, any theory we throw out there is right, because it's
right.
It's all left to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
I want to pose a question to you, and it's purely looking back to being a first-time viewer again. When the revelation is made at the end of the episode that every time Desmond did what he did, it wasn't Claire he was trying to save, it was Charlie. Do you remember what your initial reaction to that was?
I remember that I was really surprised. I mean, because at that point, I wasn't really looking for that type of an answer, or what it looked like to me is that Desmond is using this new gift that he has to help save others from death or destruction or something like that, which is interesting because he was with Locke and Saeed when Echo was about to be killed, and he didn't foresee that.
Yeah, that maybe it's only things that are foreseen, that maybe he can only foresee things that he can prevent, or that he can intervene into, because Echo might not have been within a distance of him to intervene.
They were right upstairs.
Wait, what?
They were in that little hatch when Echo was being killed up above them.
Oh, that's right. Desmond was with them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm wrong on that. Well, I mean, unless he couldn't intervene with the smoke monster.
Maybe.
I don't know. I really. Yeah. Okay. I'm wrong on my initial thoughts about that. About
That's
him
okay.
being able to intervene.
I actually have a question for you.
Okay.
What do you think is the meaning of the color red throughout the episode?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't really put any thought into that. Yeah, because we see Desmond fall off the ladder with the red paint.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely comes into play. What are some other examples of red that happen in the episode?
You also have
the red
man
shoes
with the red shoes.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it could be kind of like a nod to the Wizard of Oz, just because they had the whole, like, the scaffolding fell and the red shoes were poking out from underneath, kind of like the Wicked Witch of the West.
But yeah, I think I could be wrong on this. I'm going to have to do a little more research on it, but I think those red shoes have popped up before.
That's interesting.
On somebody else. So I'm going to have to look into it a little bit to see if that's the case. But I think I saw something about it before.
And then Desmond says later to Penny that he doesn't like the color red.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but then again, too, there's the picture of Desmond and Penny, and he's wearing a red shirt.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly was asking you because I couldn't figure out what maybe the meaning behind the color red was for this episode, because I felt like it was prominent and there was a reason behind it, but I couldn't figure out why it would be prominent.
And you're right. I mean, I think there might be a meaning behind it, and I'd have to think about it a little bit more, only because, I mean, you look at red shirt, you know, you look at the color red when it's used in television, you know, you look at, when Boone and Locke were out and Boone was creating the path by tying cloth to a tree, I think it was from a red shirt. You look at the television series Star Trek, and there's the whole red shirt element about that, as it's usually somebody who is destined to die. You know, it's the popular joke with Star Trek, like anytime somebody with a red shirt goes with the away party, they never return. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it has something to do with the destined fate of a character, but it's not going to work with Desmond because Desmond survives.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked up the color red, symbolism of red, and it says it's associated with meanings of love, passion, desire, heat, longing, lust, sexuality, sensitivity, romance, joy, strength, leadership, courage, vigor, willpower, rage, anger, danger, malice, wrath, stress, action, vibrance, radiance, and determination. Which I guess is kind of all the feelings in the flashback.
Yeah, it kind of fits into a lot of those different elements of the flashback. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting thing that I'd have to put a little more thought into, and maybe even pay attention to see if the color red pops up in other elements of the series.
In consideration of Desmond, especially.
Yeah, I mean, because maybe it's something that's already been there that we just didn't notice until this episode. So we have to kind of pay attention to see if it continues forward. Well, I mean, even another instance of the color red. Look at the bottle of the scotch.
Oh, red label.
The McCutcheon 60 is a red labeled scotch.
Yep.
So, I mean, there are definitely elements of that in the episode that I kind of passed by me, I guess. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We're going to have to pay attention to that a little bit more going forward.
Especially since he wears a very blue shirt on the island, which is more of a calming color, empathetic, cool. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. I'm just thinking out loud at this point.
No, it's fine. I think that's pretty much what we need to do at this point.
Why not, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think. I might have covered everything I had for this episode. I don't know. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about with the episode?
I do.
Okay.
So we were just talking about, I had another question I was going to ask you, and now I need to think.
42.
No, I'm not going to ask you what the meaning of life is. I already know that answer.
Damn it. Good call.
Thank you. We were talking about red.
And it's not the meaning of life, it's the answer to everything.
It is. Well, yes.
Which I guess the meaning of life kind of fits in there, but still.
A little bit. Oh, it's gone, which is such a bummer because it was something that I really wanted to talk about, and it's completely gone.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I threw you off.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Hang on. now I gotta look.
Yeah, it's all right. Take a look at your notes. That's what you're there for.
I know. So sorry. That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
So, I think that one of the indicators that we were not looking at reality during this flashback was that they were in rainy England and Desmond was as tan as he was.
I did not think about that at all.
I did, because when he took off his shirt to change, when he came back from his interview with Penny, when he was talking to Penny, it was just she was just very pale and he was so tan, like beach tan. Like there was just this huge contrast between the two. And I thought, well, this is an indication that this is not reality.
It's a good point. I didn't really think about it. Only because, I mean, it could have been that they were filming in Hawaii for so long that Ian might have just had a tan. And there was really no way around that.
I'm sure. It just struck me as just really, really noticeable.
Yeah, I guess. I just didn't, I don't know. I didn't pick up on anything with his tan. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I'm just saying I just didn't pick up on it. Maybe I should have watched this episode a third time.
Well, that was just something that I noticed. And then, of course, towards the end of the episode, I thought that it was really striking to see what the hatch looked like.
Yeah, it's really one of the first times that we get to see that, because we see, I mean, other than what Desmond sees at the end of this episode, the only other instance we see is just a big hole in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Locke and them are around it before. So yeah, so it was kind of neat in some ways and oddly ominous to see what had happened to the hatch.
Not to mention, you think to yourself, how on earth did Desmond get out of that?
Well, I mean, and that brings up another good point. I mean, as to whether or not this was really a flashback or a flash sideways, because we do know, as we mentioned earlier, that burst of energy causes issues with time travel.
Right.
So maybe the fact that Desmond survived that was because he wasn't there. Turning that key released that energy that put him in the past. And so that's how he survived the implosion of the hatch, was because he wasn't there. So when it sent him back, it sent him back to where the hatch should have been, but the hatch wasn't there anymore. Hence why he woke up in the jungle naked.
Which you could probably be led to believe that he could have been actually reborn into the island.
Yeah.
Because if it was a flash sideways, that means that he would be deceased or deceased-ish. Well, and then he's reborn into the island. I don't know. I mean, what? Look, I'm trying to figure out why he was naked.
As is our friend Des, who sent us the feedback about that. And that was the only feedback he sent was, why is Des still naked? But it brings up an interesting question now when you ponder everything about that. Like, let's just say these flashbacks weren't really flashbacks, but this was Desmond transported back in time. Like he's brought back to his consciousness was brought back to its physical form back in the past. Let's just say he was able to leave that pub, go back, buy the ring, propose to Penny. Would that in fact have changed his future? Meaning when everything imploded in the current timeline, Desmond really existed and the hatch implodes. Everybody believes Desmond to be dead because he didn't wake up from it in the jungle as he would have, but instead he's now living a different life that led him to have never ended up on the island in the first place.
And if that's the case, then Oceanic Flight 815 never crashed on the island. Yeah. That everybody eventually probably died on that island because there was nobody to press the button.
Well,
I mean, it's like a host of things. Or if
well, you kind of have a better understanding now as to why Eloise told him, like, no, this is not how this happens. Like, you have to go back and push that button, because if the button wasn't pushed and all the events happened, as she said, you're doing this to save us all. You're right. 815 would have never crashed.
and Hurley would have never been on the island.
Hurley would have never been on the island. None of them would have been on the island. And probably, most likely, that all the incidents that happened from the button not being pushed would have happened years earlier. So the island wouldn't have even been there. Or all of this would have played out without these castaways having even arrived there. Well before they were even... Because we do know that this is back, I think, in like 96. As far as timeline goes, that's the point that he was in. So
yeah, there was a lot of 90s music.
So you kind of understand a little bit better now, talking about this and kind of explaining it between you and I, as to why it was so important that Desmond not change things. Desmond is a key aspect to that island. And now that we're talking about it, it's revealed more and more how important he really was to that island. At least leading up to that point. Now, I don't believe he's not as important, because now his main goal is to basically try and survive, is to keep Charlie alive. But his purpose has been served on that island, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Because it was only turning, that's the thing too, it was only turning the key and releasing that energy that stopped the incident from happening. So what would have happened if that key was never turned? Because Eloise says you were there to save us all. Would the impact have been global?
Well, it definitely would have obliterated the island.
Yeah. So had the universe not course corrected and hit Desmond with that cricket bat to send him back to the island, had Desmond instead gotten the ring and proposed to Penny, there might not have been these characters to return the flight. Like, the world might have ended.
See, and I just don't think that he was in reality in this flashback. I just don't consider it to be a flashback. I don't know why. At best, it's a flash sideways, but I just think that this is a dream sequence.
I don't know.
But at the same time, if it was, how did he end up naked in the jungle away from the hatch?
How did he survive it?
Right.
He was in the lowest part of that hatch.
Right. He literally.
So, I mean, I don't know how he would have survived it if he wasn't somehow taken away out of that moment.
But, Echo also was somewhere other than the hatch.
I don't know. But he wasn't in the hatch.
He was leaving the hatch.
Yeah, but you can kind of argue that Echo was able to get out.
Maybe. Like a big maybe. Because he was running back into the hatch when Charlie was leaving.
Yeah.
Because he was going to try and save John, I think. And how did John get out of there?
Doesn't Charlie get him out?
Does he?
I'm sorry. I love it when your reaction is like, does he? Or did it? Or anything like that. That cracks me up. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think this is another one of those moments when it kind of is left up to interpretation. Because you and I mean, it's very clear that you and I are kind of seeing it a little differently. I see it as in, like, whatever happened, whatever that energy was, remove Desmond from that moment. And it was only a moment. But he kind of, his life flashed before his eyes, as he said, in that moment. And, when that moment was over, it returned him after the implosion had already happened. So maybe it was a couple moments that took him out, took him out of reality. Me personally looking at it, I don't see how it could have been just a flashback. Because he was able to interact. Nobody else has been able to do that. I think this is a form of time travel.
I mean, you're probably right, because the show definitely has an emphasis on time travel, especially starting next season.
Yeah.
But at this point in the story. Maybe it's a foreshadow to the fact that we're about to get into the time travel elements of the show. But if we're just looking at this episode as a standalone, considering his capabilities after the hatch, and I can't. I don't know. This is one of those parts of Lost that actually just stumps me as to what is happening.
I apologize for the language I'm about to use, but this is one of those moments in Lost that is a true mindfuck.
Oh, I use worse language on this
podcast.
podcast.
I know you do, but it's still,
That's cute.
What, that I apologized?
You're like, sorry, I'm about to swear. My sailor swearing partner over here, she doesn't care.
My partner who has a mouth that makes truckers blush.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know. I love it though.
I'm charming.
You are charming. But yeah, I mean,
I'm fucking charming.
It's one of the it's one of those moments from the series in which we have a few that really is a mindfuck. And it's just because it really makes you think, like, what the hell is going on? You know what?
Well, I mean, this episode can be taken as face value, and people are like, okay, that was a flashback, and he had, some kind of weird experience, and now he's back. Or if you really dive into, what this means for the rest of the show, knowing the full picture of this show as well, you look at this episode completely differently than you would, say, the first time that you watch it. Because this is the first time that something like this is introduced into the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. For certain. So, yeah, it's a matter of how you look at it, and it's all up to perspective at this point, at which this show does a great job of doing when it comes to a number of different things, is that it leaves it up to the perspective of the viewer. So, anything else on your list you wanted to bring up?
No, I mean, the one thing was, we get introduced to Eloise Hawking. You can kind of tell that she is going to be a character on the show. She has that feel to her. She feels fleshed out. Maybe not, we didn't know, like, to the extent of what her character was eventually going to be. She turns out to be probably just as important as Charles Woodmore. They're definitely an evil power couple, if you will.
Yeah, for certain. And they're going to play much bigger parts of this series, because we're going to find out, again, spoiler alert, but not only are both of these people important to everything that is happening, they have also both been to the island. They have both, at this point in their lives, they have been on that island before.
They have led on that island.
They have lived on that island.
Yep.
So
they probably made a baby on that island.
Would they have been able to, though?
I don't know.
I don't know. So yeah, they're going to be very important characters. They're going to have much bigger roles going forward.
Yeah.
This is just our first real introductions to some of these characters.
And I'll tell you, when Daniel Faraday enters into this show, I get very excited. He was one of my favorite characters that was added into the cast. I love the group that he's with, Miles and Charlotte, and even the pilot, whose name I'm forgetting. Frank, I think is his name.
Yep. Oh God, Miles, Charlotte, and Faraday are such an interesting trifecta of characters.
I get really, really excited when I think about that part of the show, and so I think I'm like overly excited because this episode introduces his mom, who and you also get Charles Woodmore, and you get Penny and Desmond, and this whole different side of Lost. It's away from the Jack, Kate, Sawyer, Jin, Saeed. Like it's the complexities of this show that is in this side of the story that to me makes this series so much more interesting.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I mean, when it comes to, I know people have issues with the show, and that's perfectly fine. You're allowed to have your issues with the series. But, if the show had continued for 6 seasons with just the characters that we've already been introduced to, the show absolutely would have gotten stale. You need to introduce those new characters, those new faces, and those new stories to keep the show fresh. And you're absolutely right. When we are introduced to Miles, to Charlotte, to Faraday, to Frank, to Kevin Johnson, who we'll talk about later, who in some ways is a new character, but you've already met him. The story becomes so much more interesting again. Like it definitely refreshes the show again. They're so interesting yet enigmatic characters.
Well, and what's really cool is that Lost knew that needed to happen, which, this is before people knew that you needed to change it up every couple of years if you were going to keep the viewer engaged. Walking Dead got very stale for a while. And when they introduced the Whisperers, they launched a brand new, fresh set of ideas and storylines for the show for the better. And they've pretty much revamped that show, in my opinion.
Can I tell you that I was getting so bored with The Walking Dead over the last 2 seasons, but my attention is right back in it this season.
Right. Oh, this season is phenomenal. This is just an aside, but last week's episode legit freaked me out. It was just the last 2 episodes freaked me out. Like I scare very easily, but I was just like, I'm sitting there and I kept looking behind me and Dave's like, what are you doing? I go, I don't know. I feel like they're here. I feel like they're in our house. Okay. I don't feel good. But shows do that. They see that they need to change. They make the change and it's for the better. And I think that Lost did that before they knew that was kind of the secret formula of the longevity of a show.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so it's going to be, we're getting to some interesting stuff even before we get to those characters that we mentioned. This season alone is going to get very, very interesting by the end. We're going to definitely get more about Dharma and what Dharma really was before, the others came along. We're going to see new stations on the island, including the what's the one, the underwater one?
Hydra.
The Hydra station. Yeah. We still haven't met the Russian yet. We're going to meet him relatively soon. Next week's episode, Stranger in a Strange Land, is another Jack flashback, which, if I remember correctly, I wasn't too crazy about the episode because it's a lot of his time in Phuket. But
the tattoos.
Yeah, but the following episode that we're going to talk about in 2 episodes, Trisha Tanaka is Dead, is one of my absolute favorites of the series.
Well, I think that it is actually regarded as one of, if not the best episode of the series.
It's a Hurley flashback, and there are so many great moments. It has one of my absolute favorite moments when it comes to Hurley and Charlie. The whole van scene at the end, is just, God, it warms my heart every time I watch it.
I agree.
The smile on my face when I watch that scene is so huge. I can't wait to talk about Trisha Tanaka's Dead.
Well, I'm excited too.
But I mean, looking forward at the rest of the series, we get the Man from Tallahassee, which is another Locke story, which, oh my God, that's another mind fuck episode right there. Not because it messes with your mind, but the revelations that are made in that episode. I think that's when we finally find out how Locke was paralyzed.
I think that you're right.
I think that's the episode. And then we follow it up with Expose, which, that'll be fun. Because that's a Nikki and Paulo flashback. God.
Gemma really likes that episode.
I know she does. We love Gemma, so she's already...
Gemma, you know what? Gemma, if you'd like to come on and guest on that episode, that would be fun.
Reach out to us. Send us an email and let us know if you want to do it. And if you can, we know that, you're obviously in a very different time zone, but we'll figure out a way to make it work.
Hey, I've podcasted with my friend in New Zealand, man. I can do anything.
I know you can.
17-hour difference.
So we'll make it work. We'll make it work somehow. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff still yet to happen when it comes to this series. Just this season alone, there's a lot of stuff left to happen. But I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward.
Me
to
too. I think I love season 3 a lot.
If you have feedback you want to leave us, there are multiple ways that you can do that. First and foremost, we're on Facebook at facebook.com/Lost Revisited.
We are on Twitter at Lost Revisit Pod.
You can email us at lostrevisitedpod@gmail.com.
And if you'd like to leave a message, you can record yourself and send it to our email address. Also, if you happen to see us on Instagram, can you find out our password, please?
Sorry. I love how we still bring that up every week. We actually don't have any feedback this week. The only feedback we had was from our buddy Des, and we kind of mentioned it already. He sent an email and it just said, we still don't know why Desmond was naked running through the jungle.
I'm going to go with he was reborn.
That's a good answer. I like it. So since we don't have any feedback, I want to bring up two things real quick. One of them loosely related to Lost. The other one is absolutely Lost related. The first one is, did you happen to see the final Star Wars trailer?
No, on purpose.
Well, I will just make quick mention then without spoiling anything. We get a very quick glimpse of Dominic Monaghan and his role in the Star Wars series.
I forgot. I'm so excited. Oh gosh, I might have to watch it.
There is a very quick clip of Dominic in the trailer. He makes the trailer.
So Dave couldn't help himself. My husband, for anybody that doesn't know, when I say Dave is the biggest Star Wars fan in the whole world. He's the one that got me into it and my kids into it. And now we're a Star Wars family because of my husband. And so he emailed me or texted me the other day and he said, I couldn't hold out. He goes, I'm weak. And so he watched the trailer and he said, he promises it didn't look like it had any like spoilers or it wasn't like too much information.
I don't think it does.
Because I get real weird about that.
I'll give you a funny story.
He said it was like he was like really excited and he wanted to watch it like right now.
Oh, I've watched the trailer at least 10 times. I'm in double digits.
No, he wants to watch the movie right now.
So do I. So here's the thing. Tickets went on sale Monday night. They've done that for the past 3 movies. They show the trailer during Monday Night Football, and then at the end of the trailer it says tickets on sale now, and that's opening for ticket sale. The trailer didn't air till like 8:45, but tickets actually went on sale at 8:00. So I was actually with a group of people recording a podcast that night, but we knew the moment tickets went on sale, we were going to have to break. Like, it was like, okay, like we'll edit the break out, but the moment tickets go on sale, we have to stop and buy the tickets. Mm-hmm. So we started recording at literally 7:55, thinking we had about 45 minutes to an hour before the trailer aired. Now, Rob, my DC Primetime co-host, was also the host of this pod. This is his Caffeine Crew Cast of Pods podcast. While we're recording, he's constantly hitting refresh on the ticket sales because we have a group of 22 people going. So we had to buy 22. We had to buy 22 tickets to see Star Wars, and we knew if we didn't get them from the beginning, we weren't getting 22 tickets. Like, it was going to be impossible. So. But Rob just had this feeling tickets were going to go on sale before they announced it. So we started recording at like 7:50, like it was 7:57 was when we started recording, because I remember we were only 3 minutes into the recording. We're still on the process of doing the introduction, and all of a sudden he's like, we got to stop. And it dead stopped. We dead stopped, and we ended up getting all 22 tickets. We got an entire row plus 6 seats behind it. Because
that's awesome.
Because people didn't know they were on sale yet. We beat the rush. So anyway, so there were 6 of us there recording this podcast. So we're recording this podcast, and it took us till probably like 10:30 to finish recording. But in the back of our minds, we're like, the new trailer is online. We need to watch this new trailer. Like, as soon as we're done recording, that's what we're doing, and we're watching together, which was a cool aspect of it because none of us had ever watched the new trailers together before. And I will tell you, as somebody, as I'm sure it is for you and it is for my friends that were there, Star Wars has, I have not lived in my life has never not had Star Wars in it.
Yeah.
For 42 years, this saga has been going, and I'm turning 40 next month. So I've known Star Wars all my life. So for this saga to come to an end, it's really emotional. So we watched this final trailer, and I shit you not, there were tears in all of our eyes. Because oh God, I'm getting choked up now. Because that's the thing, like, this saga has been a part of our lives for 40 plus years. So it's very emotional for it to come to an end. And like, I know ticket sales are already like eclipsing Avengers Endgame, which is ridiculous because Avengers Endgame was massive. And, you know, it came up in conversation like, well, if you had to choose between Star Wars Rise of Skywalker and Avengers Endgame, what would you choose? I'm like, I love Marvel, but it's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars.
And that's the thing. I'm like, Marvel was 10 years. Star Wars has been 40 of my life. Like, there's no question in my mind. It's Star Wars. And I know we're getting more Star Wars movies after this. There's a new trilogy planned.
No, but not a Skywalker story. This is the end of the Skywalker series, of the saga, of the original story.
This saga ends. I mean, with this movie.
Hey, you want to cover it? You want to do a podcast on it?
We can. What, the whole saga or just this movie?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I know
I'll have Dave come on so you and Dave can talk a lot more intelligently than me saying, that was cool, man. I love it.
Well, here's the thing too. There is a reference to the animated series in the trailer, in this final trailer, to Star Wars Rebels. And I've never watched Clone Wars or Rebels.
Rebels is so good. You have to watch it.
Everybody's telling me that. So I have officially started with Clone Wars and Rebels. And I'm pushing through them.
How far are you in Rebels?
I haven't started Rebels yet because I want to get through Clone Wars first. But Clone Wars is like 6 seasons. So my buddy Mike, who is a huge Star Wars aficionado, he's like, here's the episodes you need to watch to prepare for Rebels. You don't need to watch anything else of Clone Wars. Just watch these. It's like, because Rebels is like 200 and some odd or Clone Wars is like 200 and some odd episodes. He's like, here's the 44 episodes of Clone Wars you need to watch, then just go into Rebels. He's like, don't even worry about the rest of Clone Wars. So I'm now on that journey.
We haven't seen it. We haven't seen Clone Wars, but we're almost done with Rebels. We watch it as a family, and Great British Baking Show kind of got us off the Rebels train, but we'll be back on Rebels shortly. And the kids are always like, can we watch Rebels? We're like, but it's pastry week.
So I mean, like, I know you want me to watch New Girl and everything, but I've officially said, with the exception of the shows I have to watch for podcasts, everything else is on hold right now until I can get through Clone Wars and Rebels, because I have literally a month and a half to get it done before Star Wars. So,
you can get Rebels done easy. They're 21-minute episodes.
Oh, yeah. Same with Clone Wars. They're only 22-minute episodes. So I have no doubt I'll get through it, but I want to make sure I get through it. So I'm pushing through them first, and then I'll go back. Then I'll resume everything else that I'm watching. So we got off topic only because I mentioned Dominic Monaghan in the trailer.
Hey, but that's fine.
I have watched the trailer. Like I said, no lie, I'm in double digits on the number of times I've watched that trailer. And I get emotional every time I watch it. I cannot wait. The other thing I wanted to bring up is I saw this article online. This absolutely pertains to Lost. Lost 15th anniversary. Daniel Day Kim has an interesting theory about the smoke monster. And I'll read this article.
Oh, yeah, read it.
It's not that long, so I'll read it in entirely. 15 years after the series premiered of Lost, Daniel Day Kim, who played series regular Jin Soo Kwon, still remembers his first encounter with the smoke monster. He didn't know what it was, but he was directed to treat it like the scariest thing you've ever seen. He's quoted as saying, "We were all supposed to gather around the wing of the plane and look off into the jungle. The note was, there's something out there and you don't know what it is, but it's the scariest thing you've ever heard. That was my introduction to the smoke monster." Though he and his castmates had a lot of questions about that infamous column of smoke, the writers kept them in the dark about any explanations until season 5 or 6, he recalled. It was a big mystery to us, as it was to the audience. So even as we're trying to figure it out, they had no idea what it was. So before we had the security system explanation for the ticking, ratcheting, murderous, shape-shifting man in black, the actors were left to come up with their own theories. And he's quoted again as saying, "I remember thinking that the smoke monster must be some kind of mirror for your consciousness and your goodness as a human being. The idea that I was playing with was that if you were good inside, you would be safe. If you were not, it would be the harbinger of your doom." He recalled the scene from this 5th episode of season 5, This Place's Death, in which Jin, while unstuck in time, tries to help the recently shipwrecked Daniel Rousseau and her team before the smoke monster grabs one of the men by his feet and drags them down into the hole that leads to its underground lair. I tried to think about who was taken by the smoke monster and why, and just making deductions. That's when I went into thinking about that's what I went into thinking about in that scene. We're acting to nothing. We're acting to the air. There was always something unknown to Jin a little bit on that island. It wasn't hard to find a space for not knowing what that smoke monster was. So that was his portrayal, and that was his take as to when he was trying to figure out, like, find motivation for what the smoke monster was.
I love that. I love Daniel Day Kim.
Yeah, he's another one.
The show was never the same after he left Hawaii Five-0.
You know what? I disagree with that. I think it's still good. I still love that show.
We fell off.
Especially because Jorge Garcia came on for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he's great, but I really, really love Daniel Day Kim on that show.
So do I. And I feel like he was kind of done wrong a little bit by the series too. So, but yeah, he was a good reason as to why I started watching it.
No, he was the reason why I started watching it.
I still like it. I mean, the show's been going on for almost 10 years. So actually, I think it's in its 10th season.
It's total junk food.
I love it. I love it, though. There have been episodes of that show that have made me so emotional because they touch on things that are so well done.
Mm-hmm.
But so, I mean, with that, let's just kind of throw some recommendations out there and we'll sign off. So I don't know if you have anything you want to recommend to the peeps this week.
So I watched the very first episode of the new season of Castle Rock last night, and it's awesome.
I still need to watch the first season.
Awesome. Well, it's an anthology, so you can actually watch the second season without having watched the first season. It's totally fine.
Okay.
But it is setting up to be completely different from the first season, and it hooked me right in. I'm totally into the story. So yeah, that, and then earlier I said Walking Dead. Walking Dead, man, it's great this season.
It's really good.
It's so good. And I'm just, it's Denai Guerrera's last season. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to all shake out.
Yeah, we know that she's leaving, and we know that Lauren Cohan is coming back next season. So yeah,
next season or the second half?
I thought it was next season, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. My recommendation for this week, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this, and Kristen, this is another one for you too if you haven't seen it before. There is a series on YouTube that I absolutely love.
I don't watch YouTube.
Well, you might when this, because trust me, this is a great series. There's a series on YouTube, if you haven't heard of it before, called Hot Ones. And basically what it is, it's an interview series. It's a one-on-one interview series with the host and his guest. And they run probably anywhere from like 25 minutes to a half hour an episode. And it's basically he's interviewing them while they're eating hot wings. And and the hot wings get progressively hotter and hotter and hotter through 10 different stages as they go along. There have been some fantastic. Terry Crews has been on, and it was great. One of his most recent episodes, it was the second, not the last episode, the episode before that, is with Paul Rudd. And it has become one of my, I've seen like Gordon Ramsay, Ashton Kutcher, there's been Alton Brown, Gordon Ramsay. There's been a number of people on. Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones was actually his latest guest.
Oh, cool.
The Paul Rudd one has become my favorite episode of that series because he's just, God, I just want him to be my best friend. Like, he is so fucking charming. It is ridiculous.
Oh, Paul Rudd is the best.
He is so absolutely ridiculously charming and friendly that I love it. Like, one of the questions that he asks him and he's so funny. Like, and one of the questions that the host is great. Like, he's so good at interviewing. He asks Paul Rudd, he's like, what do you think about the whole Ant-Man flying up Thanos' ass to end the whole thing kind of theory that's out there? And Paul Rudd looks at him, he's like, I feel like they missed an opportunity. And that was his only response to it. And it's like fantastic. So, but like, it's great listening to the answers that they're giving because they're so engaging, but yet at the same time watching them reacting to these hot sauces that, when I tell you move up in scale, like we're talking like easy, like Frank's hot sauce, which is maybe like a 4,000 on the Scoville scale, to the hot sauce at the end is like a 4 million on the Scoville scale. Like, ridiculous.
I wouldn't make it.
Oh, I wouldn't make it through the first 3. But it's so fun to watch, and I just love it. So my recommendation is the Hot Ones series if you haven't watched it yet.
Awesome. I'm going to check it out.
You should. And you don't have to watch them all. Just watch through the celebrities that you know, because that's, they're the fun ones. Kristen Bell has done it. Dax Shepard's done it. Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's so many people, so many big names that have done it.
Awesome.
Yeah. But I think other than that, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. Unless you've got anything else.
I got nothing else.
All right. So as we mentioned, next episode, we're going to talk about Stranger in a Strange Land, which is another Jack episode. And again, it'll be interesting because I don't remember much about this episode, and I don't think I remember being crazy about this episode. But we'll see. I have to rewatch and find out.
All right.
But with that being said, thank you so much for everything, for listening, for subscribing, for commenting on Facebook, everything that you guys do. Be sure to leave us feedback. But until next time, we'll see you guys further on down that rabbit hole. Take care.
Bye-bye.
We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back!